The finance minister was finally able to present a budget or bring forward a budget to Parliament on the 12th of March. I have my feelings about this budget, but I'm not shocked. Just like many people, I think at some point I've just come to realize exactly what we are dealing with in this instance. And I saw somewhat, I think it was in the media somewhere where they were saying, no, this budget that was presented by Enoch Godongwana is not an ANC budget, but the finance minister, I'm going to show you guys a clip where he is literally saying that the initial budget that was supposed to be presented, which had the 2% VAT increase, was his idea.
The 2% is not their invention, it's mine. I plead guilty. I woke up one day and said, no. Everybody has been attacking me about austerity. I said, I'm sick and tired of being attacked for austerity. This time I'm going to raise tax. Then I called Duncan and the team. I said, put 2% VAT. Are you sure, Minister? I said, yes. And then on the weekend, Duncan phoned me and said, Minister, are you sure? Are you not going to change? Because if you change, we'll have to change the budget date. I said, I'm not changing. I'm forging her.
He even speaks about how when he put that to Treasury had to ask him twice, sir, are you sure about the VAT increase? And it was his decision. So Enoch Godongwana is appointed into his position by the African National Congress. So where I'm standing, this budget is an ANC budget mainly. An ANC budget, and obviously ANC is now working to get as many people to support the budget. But to detach this budget from the ANC just does not seem, it's not sensible at this point in the game, which is why I'm not quite shocked that yet again they are proposing to increase VAT, that they are not shielding the middle class. As you probably have seen by now, the tax bracket, which is associated to your income tax, is not shielded from inflation, which means you can make more money tomorrow, which will push you up into a higher tax bracket because of how much you'll be earning before your deductions. But it does not necessarily mean you're going to get more money in your pocket, because if you get an increase of 5,000 Rand and you move up into a higher tax bracket, you're going to get taxed almost 2 times more than what you were taxed before. So whatever 5,000 Rand the company might have added to your cost to company, you will never get to experience that sort of increase. And that's just, that's just the nature of what we're dealing with, the nature of the type of leadership that South Africa has, and very boring again for Fikile Mbalula to call this budget a pro-transformation budget, because in his tweet, because we do know that the Democratic Alliance has come out quite strong to say they do not support any increase in VAT. So then he says, no, if the DA does not support increase in VAT, if they do not want to support the budget as it has been presented, then therefore the DA is anti-transformation. That's according to Fikile Mbalula, which would suggest that he thinks that the budget in its current form is pro-transformation. And I just think these buzzwords that they throw at us every single time they run out of an excuse or a way to logically explain their positions, and then we just told about these buzzwords of transformation, redress. It's not to say that those words do not hold a meaning. They do mean something, of course, but to just throw these buzzwords, if the transformation is not transforming my bank account, adding more zeros, I'm not interested in transformation. And that's it for me. Like, if it's not redressing my bank account, increasing my money, giving me more peace of mind, because now you're having to work a lot. You're overstretched in your job so that you can be able to keep your job, number one, to be able to get that income, because I'm one of those people, right, who just got into the system thinking one income would be enough. If I go to school, study, get a job, that would be more than enough. And I could just survive on my one income but rude awakening to me, it's not possible. So if it's transformation, redress, that stuff doesn't really mean a lot to me, to be frank. unless it's transforming my bank account, unless it's redressing my bank account and adding more zeros. And it's not to downplay or to undermine what it actually means, but I'm just saying that when these politicians throw these words at us, when they run out of logical arguments, it's something that we need to be able to notice and just call it out.
The opposition parties, they are saying that you should have opted rather for wealth tax or corporate tax. How do you respond to their criticism?
No, problem in these people, it's nice when you don't have the responsibility. Let me just give you an example. If you go into Rustenburg as we speak, Glencore has closed 7 furnaces, and the impact on 13,000 employment. Now, if you were saying you are going to fast-track that process of retrenchment by increasing more corporate tax, what do you mean? You're just putting more people on 350. That's basically what you mean. So I don't think it's logical. South African companies are affected by high electricity, weak logistics, and now you're saying let's put more tax on them. It's high unemployment.
So this clip was just after Ino Godongwana delivered the speech, and one would probably say, okay, cool, this is good. It's good that the finance minister is able to connect the dots, that if you increase corporate tax, you put strain on companies, that could lead to job losses. Job losses are not good. But I thought about this and I'm like, we are completely 100% at the mercy of these guys. Had Ino Godongwana not had that insight or that realization that, oh yeah, so if you increase corporate tax, this is what happens. That leads to job losses. He would have done it. He would have increased corporate tax. What I would have wanted to see is corporate tax decreasing because, like I mentioned, less burden on business. Business can be able to expand. And that just kind of gives a bit of room in the system for either more people to be hired or for those that are hired to get more out of what the company, right? And it's good. It's a good point that he's making, and I completely agree. But it's just, again, disheartening. And it's disheartening. We are in this position where we are completely at their mercy. If he just decided to listen to Malema and just say, Malema actually writes, I want to increase corporate tax, we would be looking forward to even far more difficulty in the short term or potentially in the long term, because these things, like I said, they do not showcase the results immediately, but over time, it definitely does tend to get more difficult. Not to create paranoia or say people must live in fear and people must be skeptical. I'm religious, so part of being religious also means I do hold a lot of optimism about the future, based on my religion and so forth. But it also goes without saying that we should not be completely oblivious or completely in the dark when it comes to issues related to money. And that's my takeaway. When it comes to issues related to your income, we should not be completely in the dark. And what I'm seeing now with the African National Congress, because they are leading, they are very much driving, they are the ones on the driver's seat. The steering wheel they have that. They are in charge of that now. There's other people, there's other passengers in the car, but who's driving? It's still the African National Congress. And all of the African National Congress light versions that have come up over the years because of all the internal disputes. And it's for us to realize that these policies, it's for us to be able to realize that it's a business that drives growth. It's not the state. The state does not have money. It is up to us to then get familiar with the concept of a free market, growing markets, having more markets, big and small. I know there's always a debate, to say, no, do we want big companies to continue growing or do we want to have more small companies? Listen, markets, we just want an environment that allows for markets to grow. And it starts with these things. It starts with how they position their budgets. Again, a lot of what the budget speaks to is giving the state more power, more control. The state will, there's NHI included in there, money going to the NHI, when in fact everyone has been saying the same thing. Are we ready for the NHI? Can we afford the NHI? They're still putting money towards entities like PRASA, pushing in a lot of money, right? When what we should be seeing there is them actually selling out some of these state-owned enterprises or selling a portion of the state-owned enterprises over to the private sector. Give it to people who are serious, people who can make it happen. We're not seeing any of that. Instead, we're seeing them trying to get more money from us when we are already strained. We hear this every time. X amount of South Africans pay tax, meaning there is a few taking care of many. That is already a ticking time bomb, right? So there's that. And then on top of that, they still want to push money into all of these projects. They still have all of these grand ideas. Nothing has really changed. And I agree with that sentiment. I've seen a lot of that commentary. I think it was also Musi Maimane who made the comment that it's just business as usual, even though they did not win by majority in May of 2024. And like I said, it is then up to us. We need to be able to just understand this, because when we understand just some of the basic things that come from a budget speech, you do not make that mistake when it comes to elections, and then you suddenly have a complete amnesia now in terms of what has happened. And that would be the biggest risk for people like the ANC, if people actually understood that, you know what, actually I don't need transformation. What I need is a strong government. What I need, for example, is less tax. What I need is a tax break. I don't need transformation. Maybe just wait a bit with that. Let's pause on those projects. That would be a complete challenge for them, because what else are they pitching to South Africans except for these buzzwords that absolutely mean nothing? Because then the bottom line is that money is freedom. Money is how you grow your legacy. Money is how you take care of your family. Money is your dignity. Dignity is tied to money. And business is the markets make money. Business makes money. Business pays tax. Business hires you and I, because what we tend to, I'm very, what's the word? I'm very discouraged as someone who's working in corporate in South Africa because of the conditions that we're working in now. But I was talking to someone and they were just saying that in other countries, employees are a commodity and they treat it as such. Companies fight for people of certain skills, right? They fight for you. So you basically telling people off. You getting an offer letter just on the first conversation that comes in. You are not on the other side, basically putting yourself out there, having to sit through a long application formats and interviews and not getting callbacks and having to wait for a long duration. It just indicates that this country is not in favor of people like you and I. And I think we need to be able to separate the noise, the BS, and all of this fluff that we tend to get from these leaders. And let's just get serious, guys. When it comes to the money aspect, like I said, that is your freedom, that is your dignity, that is your future. That's how you're able to grow your legacy. We always speak about breaking these generational curses and these generational chains that, you come from a situation like this, you raising your children in the same situation. That's not what we want. We want to do better. We want to do better than what our parents could do. And we need to get smarter and we need to maintain. Do not suddenly be outraged by this budget speech and then tomorrow you hear someone saying, transformation, and then suddenly you lose your marbles. You should be able to just know that probably that doesn't really mean much, because they will tell you transformation and then do something totally opposite that. Because, like I said, if it's not transforming my bank account, I don't know. Thanks for watching. Before you go, please hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you again when I drop the next video.